I'm going to cut across to Shazia Ilami, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. We also have Sujata Paul, Congress spokesperson. Sujata, I'm going to start with you if that's all right. Shazia, please stay with us. Sujata, why does the opposition feel that this is a threat to democracy, that it is against the constitution? These were the words that some of the opposition leaders spoke at the India meet yesterday.
First of all, today we should be talking about one nation, one prime minister forever, and one prime minister's friend, Mr. Adani. However, attention has been diverted very successfully, I might say. And after 9.5 years, if the prime minister comes up with this plan of his, so to speak, it just shows his desperation and frustration at the opposition's unity. However, this is an impracticable, unworkable completely. Why? Because if you look at what happened after 67, in a federal democracy like ours, there is bound to be times when a government might fall. What if the government at the center falls? What will happen then? Are all the governments going to be dissolved, all the state assemblies dissolved, and then elections happening together for everybody? There are 5 articles which will need to be amended in this particular case. But, you know, in this country, where you have diversity of the kind that we have, you have regional parties. They are going to be hit the maximum because they have limited resources. In addition to all the other things that you were mentioning, can you imagine? They're not going to be able to fight elections the way they have been fighting even in the state, because when you club everything together, according to an IDFC report from 2015, which says that 77% of the people tend to vote for the same party for the assembly as they have voted for the party which is in power. So the one who is in power will be benefited, and of course,
well, there are many surveys that say that election patterns of the state and the centre are very different. You're saying if it's clubbed together and happens at the same time, then they're more motivated to vote for the same party. All right, we got your point. Stay with us. I'll bring in Shazia Ilami on that. Shazia, a lot of faults that have been found on this proposal, mooted by Prime Minister Modi in 2014. But at the fag end of your tenure, where we're going into elections in barely a few months, 2024 is hardly a few months away, and the BJP now drops this bombshell of a news: one nation, one election. This is the opposition says is nothing less than red herring. It's a bid to try and divert issues. You're threatened by the India bloc meeting of all the oppositions coming together, so y'all are weak in the knees. That's the opposition's claim.
Good evening, Nabila. Good to be here. So first of all, the first charge that was made by my political opponent, Sujata ji, about we distracting from the Adani issue, I think I would remind her to actually take this to her own, one of our chief ministers, a man called Mr. Gehlot, in whose state there is a big Adani project going on. Mamata Banerjee, part of the alliance, where Tajpur, the deep sea port, 25,000 crore project, Adani project is underway. And in Kerala, I believe Pinarayi Vijayan, the CM of the state, who has also commissioned a huge project with
and
Adani.
we believe Karnataka government is also in talks. Karnataka government is also in talks.
And let me finish. And not just that. So Kerala, West Bengal, and Rajasthan, and the CMs of all 3 of the states, very much part of INDIA, have Adani projects. Not just that. Going further, Sharad Pawar, the architect of this alliance, I mean, many of them apparently, but one of the main architects, has actually gone and chided all of them about his personal friendship with Mr. Adani, and has actually the only leader who went and met him and has reprimanded his colleagues.
But Shazia, keeping the Adani issue aside, you know,
because it was made, so I wanted you to say that. Nabila, I'm coming to that.
We're very limited on time on this hour.
Next, come on, one nation. Pardon me?
We're very limited on time, so let's get straight to the point. One nation, one election bill.
Yes, Nabila, let me speak, please. So I just wanted to get this out of the way. One nation, one poll is not a new idea. As we all know, 1952, 1957, 1962, 1967, it's been happening. Article 356 was misused, but most of all by various PMs of the yesteryears, but mostly by Indira Gandhi, kept toppling state governments. As a result, we have a situation where there's a mega election round the corner every year, coming in the way of governance, coming in the way of development, coming in the way of constitutional mandate of MPs, MLAs. 1983, it was Election Commission which brought up the idea. 2003, it was Vajpayee ji who spoke to Sonia Gandhi ji about this. 2010, it was Advani ji who actually met Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. 2014, it was part of the BJP manifesto. 2020, our Prime Minister spoke about it. So, and not just that,
we're not denying that at all. But what the question here is that it's happening right at the fag end of your tenure. When you're just about going into 2024, yes, elections is just around the corner. 5 states elections to come. Where is the draft? So where is the roadmap? So is there anything? Is there anything that is on paper that we can see is an effective plan or a formula that can be emulated in the so quickly? Or
sure,
2024 is not your plan. You're just looking at the long term.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. We are short on time, so let me finish. I was coming to that had this question not come my way. So there is a committee in place now. We all know, we just read out all the members. There would be a report. The report will be in public domain. This will be discussed in the parliament. All the misgivings, all the logistical details, the challenges that this concept has, and I'm sure it does at this point of time, will all be taken care of. And not just that, look at the list of the people, the members. I mean, nobody can fault that. There are people from both sides, all sides, yeah, and great constitutional minds are working on it. So I think something that is really important for our democracy, not for one party or the other, but for the sake of governance of India and Indians, which means the best for India, instead of keeping it a crazy, frenzied election after election, yeah, month after month, to have something solid in place which helps our country.
Undoubtedly, it is in principle a solid idea, something that we surely want to see going forward. But the question is, what about regional issues? Could that be sidelined? Regional parties, could they be wiped off? As what we see similar to
why would they be wiped off?
The presidential elections in the United States leaves only 2 parties facing off. Something like that coming here, where similarly we have one election in one go. Ultimately, most of the regional parties might be wiped off. You'll have only 2 major parties.
Why?
And we hear, Sujata, no, my question to Sujata is, Sujata, we hear the Congress has been welcoming this move for quite a while now. You haven't really been against it.
I don't think you understand what we want. We want things to be simplified, not complicated further. Now, when there is a trust deficit...
So, you're saying you're opposing one nation, one election bill?
Yes. And I'm telling you why. We are opposing it because it means that the government that doesn't believe in the constitution is messing up with the constitution. And when there is a trust deficit and you're bringing up something like this, and my friend here says that this is going to be brought in parliament and discussed in parliament, she obviously knows something that you and I don't know. And we thought that this was speculation. She actually spoke about Adani and said that if, for example, my friend commits a crime, but because he has helped her also, or she has taken his help, you cannot punish him. And I will not. I will have to stand by him. So now, when you're talking about the municipality elections,
we have barely a minute left.
Municipality, Nabila, very important point. Municipality elections and panchayat elections, these are state subjects. How can state subject be taken over by the center now? So what is going to happen is there's going to be a whole lot of confusion, and the storage of EVMs is going to be a problem. EVMs have to be replaced every 15 years, and like you mentioned, the reserve forces, the central reserve forces will have to be sent across to every part of the country. Do you realize
what if Sujata, if this is stable and there's a conversation that's begun, it might not happen before 2024. It's good to have a conversation, isn't it? Won't you agree?
Of course, there should have been a conversation, and this should have been discussed before, before the government had floated this media trial balloon, like it did yesterday, and we understood why. But of course, there has to be conversation, which the Prime Minister never believes in. He thinks that he's going to dictate.
Well, you have a committee now. The Law Ministry has notified a panel. A committee is going to be overseeing it. There are people of the opposition and the ruling. You have a mixed bag there who are going to be ensuring that all these flaws that maybe will be ironed out, and it might not come so soon. This is just a talk that's been rolled out, but before that, raising a red flag, what does that suggest of the opposition?
No, not at all. This is not a red flag at all. This is a genuine red flag. This is not just raising any kind of red flag.
Right.
It is
False alarm.
important to understand. It is important to understand that when you are fiddling with the basic structure of the constitution, you will have to take on board everybody.
So do you mean to say when Nehru,
they need
the
center will need a 2/3 majority in the Rajya Sabha. It's not going to be so easy. All of you parties will have to vote or not. So
and states also. You will have to have 50% of states.
Right, Shazia, a quick word. I'll go to Shazia on that. A quick word on that, Shazia. Too many complications, a lot to deal with.
It's very unfair of Sujata to call the first Prime Minister of a country, Jawaharlal Nehru, as one who fiddled with the constitution. I think he was. He might have been a Congress. So I think Sujata just discredited Jawaharlal Nehru and said something terrible and said that he fiddled because that's how the elections were done.
Well, Shazia, a quick word. If I can cut you short, let's get done with the personal jibes. Please, but a quick word. Could you, Shazia, could you tell me what's the...
discredit him
Shazia.
or undermine
Pandit Nehru.
Two, and most importantly, the committee is in place. You should read the news. You should also read about
Shazia, if you can answer my question, Sujata, please hold on for a moment. Shazia, what is the BJP plan to do? Give us your...
Have you heard of Ashok Gehlot?
Shazia.
Ashok Gehlot is not in BJP. He's in the Congress. And the committee has already been made. And that committee will do the report.